Hello, I'm Dr. Gutierrez. I'm going to take a couple of minutes to explain some basic parts of grammar so that we can understand Spanish grammar a little bit better, particularly with subjects, verbs, and direct objects. So that's where we're headed. So let me start with the subjects. In English, it's always easy to identify a subject because we put it before every single verb. For example, in the famous quotation from Caesar, I came, I saw, I conquered, we repeat I every single time in English. It's a little bit redundant, but it's how we do things because we have so few verb conjugations, we only have a couple, that you need the subject in order to figure out who is doing the verbing. So that's our test for how to figure out who a subject is. In this case, who came? I. Subject is I. Let's take a look at an example in Spanish. You're going to see how things are different. In this particular picture, we can say, los niños juegan. ¿Quieres jugar con ellos? Tenemos tiempo. So on the first sentence, you can see, los niños juegan. Jugar is the verb to play, and it's clearly the children who are playing. So in the first sentence, the subject is clearly stated. But look at the second one, the question. It says, ¿Quieres jugar? Do you want to play? But the word you doesn't appear in the sentence. You have to know that quieres has an es ending on it, which for an er verb means it's the to form. It can only be the to form. There's no other option. This can only mean you, individual person who I'm talking to, who's my friend, do you want to play with them? Third sentence, same thing. It says tenemos tiempo. Tenemos is the nosotros form of tener. The only possible subject for that sentence is nosotros. So it can only mean we have time. Let's take a look now. So we're shifting gears a bit at a direct object. I just want to define it to set this up to be able to learn it in Spanish. There's a different test question for direct objects. So in order to identify a subject, we're looking for who is doing the verbing. In order to identify a direct object, we're going to ask the question, who or what is being verbed? Now this question doesn't work 100% of the time, but it probably works 90% of the time, and it should be enormously helpful for you in the lower levels of Spanish. It's entirely appropriate for this level. So let's look at this particular sentence. I kicked the ball. Let's just stick with the simple one. I kicked the ball. Who or what is doing the kicking? I am. I am the subject. Who or what is being verbed is the ball. Who or what is being kicked. So I'm actually going to stick the verb in there where you see verb in parentheses. I'm actually going to say who or what is being kicked. The ball is being kicked. So that identifies the direct object. Now in English, if we continue to talk about this ball and kicking, we would really quickly shift over from I kicked the ball hard, I kicked the ball a lot, to saying I kicked the ball, I kicked it hard, I kicked it hard. So it is a direct object pronoun. It's a word that takes the place of the noun, the ball, in a sentence when we are referring to it over and over again. So it keeps us from having to repeat the word, the ball, for an entire conversation. We're going to substitute it. Now notice that in English, our direct object pronouns go after the verb, exactly where the direct object would go. I kicked the ball, direct object. I kicked it. It, object pronoun, direct object pronoun. Both of them come after the verb. What you're going to see in Spanish is that particular word order is not the same. And so I want you to be looking for that. So go ahead and open up the second video about direct object pronouns in Spanish.